What's up everyone, Sundown here.
And I'm Zeke. Weekend number 2 of the FNCS just wrapped up.
And we saw a number of trios able to repeat their week 1 performance, but also some new challengers rise to the top. Let's dive on in and see what went down.
Action in the Middle East heated up as Klops, Fiesel, and Hero Kappa won again.
Yeah, they were able to score 140 points and they were 8 points clear of second. And the one thing I really want to take away from this game is that Klops is beginning to look like a standout player, not only for this trio, but in the region, continually putting himself in good situations. With that being said though, Hero Kappa also was able to step up with a number of very heads-up play, keeping them in the matches. They won 2 of their 8 matches, but were only outside the top 3 twice. And in one of those games, they picked up 12 elims and got to top 12 in a 13-minute match. That is 15 points in 13 minutes. It's incredibly efficient, and so far they have proven that they are far and away the top team in the Middle East.
Over in OCE, the X2 twins Jesse and Jordan and their trio Volks continue to show the world why they're a deadly trio.
As they would put it, it's free mowing down under, scoring 162 points in their 8 matches. They averaged a 5.00 placement, and that was even with a 21st place thrown in there. They had 3 victory royales and 3 second places. On top of that, they were 32 points clear of the next closest team, showing they're clearly kings of Oceania. And the one thing I really want to stress here is that Jordan looks like he's on another level. And now adding in kind of the powerhouse of Volk, somebody who gives them a little bit more early and mid-game slaying potential, I think is enabling Jordan to be that much more successful. They're definitely the premier team out of OCE.
Rocketing their way into first place was the WGS trio, and they were a walking highlight reel.
QOO, Horde, and Jag were able to take the top spot with 115 points. QOO had some of the best individual efforts I've ever seen in competitive Fortnite, period. He had the most ridiculous grenade launcher play where he got Shockwave separated from his team. He had only 6 GLs left, started firing them off towards zone, gets a direct elim to get the siphon back off, plus 2 knocks, and then ramp boosts himself in to survive with 10 HP, and then they go on to make a good run on it. Just huge play, and then honestly, the funniest thing that pushed them up is in one of their hot drop games, they picked up 8 elims in 4 minutes in Tilted Town in their second to last match and were just able to secure it through there. So very efficient in terms of their point usage, and make sure you go back and check out some of those plays.
Over in Europe, the loudest trio Mongrel, Benji, and Mitro took home the top spot.
The loudest trio indeed. Mongrel, Benji, and Mitro were finally able to get their redemption, and it wasn't even close. They were able to score 151 points with 3 VRs in 9 matches, with effectively their first match being a throwaway because they scored no points and it was just a dud. They had a 25 elim victory royale, a 15 elim victory royale, and a 13 elim victory royale, consistently dropping at retail row, challenging every single person who would come and saying, hey, we're the premier trio, we're the best. I mean, Mongrel was sitting there on stream saying he'll stream every single FNCS weekend because he knows they're the best trio. It's not even close, and he just loves playing trios because they will stomp on everyone. He's throwing down the gauntlet. He's saying, we're the best of the best. I mean, second place and first place in the region where pretty much everybody is playing. It's incredibly impressive.
Over in Brazil, Mystic, Phoebus, and Nogs took home the first spot.
They were able to score 143 points. They had 3 victory royales out of their 7 matches, along with 80 elims, and they were never outside of the top 10 once. And with top 12 being that first placement threshold, that means they were very efficient in terms of their point totals. They were 17 points clear of the next closest trio, and they did it largely on the backs of those 3 victory royales, which had 10, 17, and 24 elims apiece. Very impressive going on there. But the one big thing I do want to note kind of in Brazil is how this is the one region where we see a major change in the guard. The top trio from the last week, not anywhere even on that board in terms of the top 10. You can kind of see King, Sohn, and Toxic hanging around there, but Brazil has been the one region where we haven't necessarily seen a consistent trio really rising up to the top, and it's more who is on their game during that weekend, and it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues.
In NA East, Saf and Zate found themselves a top spot, and with a new trio partner, Zypha.
Yeah, so we haven't seen Zypha playing with Zate and Saf before. We've seen them with a mix of trio partners, but most recently playing with Bizzle. However, the addition of Zypha kind of gave them, I want to say, a little bit of that like early game aggression and swagger that they had together. They were able to end up claiming it due to their second to last hot drop plus their 8 elims and then a top 3 performance. During that drop, Zayt and Zypha actually got a pickaxe elim immediately off the drop and then pushed into another team that were also wearing the Luchadora skins and then dealing with cube monsters. So they had no idea that they were dropping on them. Zypha had a drum shotgun and they're able to pick up a number of elims very quickly there. So that, and then also in their 11 elim VR, they were able to bolster up their score and just have an impressive performance. Zayt even tweeted out, he's like, Zayt's fallen off, but then he turns around and him and Zypha were able to just take the top spot.
And finally, in NA West, Wavy Jacob, Titanks, and Thomas found themselves the win, with first and final game victory royales to secure their placement.
Yeah, and they're able to bookend those victory royales with 13 elims apiece. They scored 146 points with those 3 victory royales, 8 matches total with 77 elims. And now the one thing I want to call out there, Wavy qualified for the World Cup as a solo, and Thomas and Titanks were so close so many times as a duo, and were one of those alternate pairs who were incredibly close. They all tweeted out afterward how they finally were able to win. They had qualified last week for the final heats, but they were saying, hey, this is for pride. We want the top spot. We've been so close. We want to be able to push up there. And in the final match, they were in shambles. They were able to then clutch it up, regroup, and get back together, and that's what the best players do. You get your gameplay, regardless of what adversity you face in the early game, you make it happen, you show up, and you win. It was just a great way to round out week 2 of the FNCS with some clutch moments.
And that's it for the Week 2 recap of the FNCS. Don't forget to stay tuned for more content throughout the week.
And make sure you're playing in the arena and getting your trio set for this upcoming weekend, as it will mark week 3 of the FNCS, which puts us on the back half to seeing who will become our first ever season champion. So make sure you get on the battle bus and dive on in. Beep, beep.